Hi, this is Paul Inch from the Tech Modeler channel with my update on my Tamiya Sturmtiger in 1/48 scale, kit number 32591. I don't really remember my comments. Well, the last video update I done in this when I'd actually just got the base coat on there with the pre-shading done, and she looked really beautiful then, and I wish I hadn't gone any further, because as I said in my comments that it all went wrong when I started spraying the camouflage. So the reason I've been so long getting to this point is because this kit had to be stripped down in clutch or brake fluid, depending on which one you use, which I think they're both the same. But anyway, I used it to break down and get all the paint off. Now that took ages to get it off and to get it all in the nooks and crannies. And some of the pieces fell off. You'll see the crane is missing. No problem, I've got it in the spray booth. It's ready, all done, still back to as it was. Because I only glued it on the back, and I'll just get this little pointy sticky thing. Because I had it glued into this position on the back here, if I just put it around a bit, into this position, thankfully I'd only put a very small dab of glue there, so of course it came off, and which was good because it made it easier for me to carry on when I'd done the camouflage, and I should never put it on there in the first place. But anyway, but as you can see, it came off, but I cleaned it all up and managed to get it really looking nice, and there's a very small bit of glue there to hold it. The actual camouflage went completely wrong, and it kept, my airbrush kept spluttering, and the reason I think it was is because of the heat that we had up in the over 30s into 33s and 34s. I should never have considered spraying at that time in that sort of temperature. But anyway, what I did is, once it eventually got it all back and tarted it up, as I like to say, got it back to just basically, even took off the Tamiya extra fine undercoat, the primer. It took it right back to the bare plastic. The only trouble is I had to wash the kit in soapy water and all to get all the actual residue of the actual oil off, and as I said, it took a little while to do. So then I got back, and luckily the top, as I said, I kept the bottom and the top half separate. Thankfully that was good. They're not now, they're actually glued permanently in place. The only thing that's actually not in permanently in place is the roof plate, and this gun is now in place okay. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so what I used then, I actually went to MRP paints. They're lacquer base, so they do stink. Thankfully, I've got a spray booth that actually deals with it quite nicely, and I did wear a respirator as well. And they are very fine paints. My compressor was down at just below 8 psi. And it was still spraying perfectly, so, and the temperature didn't seem to affect it too badly. So I used their MRP primer, which was a grey. Then I went on and used Panzer grey to actually get the pre-shading everywhere I wanted it, and including spraying the tracks, which you can see there. And once I've done that, and then I went in with the base colour again, leaving the pre-shading all around the corners. You can only see little bits of the pre-shading now, but it is faintly there. And then I went in to do the camouflage. Now I went as near as I could to the what was on the box, and I'll just give a quick twirly whirly around for you. And now with all the base camouflage is on there, as you can see, and it's not exactly as per the box, but it's near as damn it as I could get. You know, this is the first time I've only done any spraying like this for a long time, and I think you can see what I mean. So, but it was good fun once I got going on there, and you can see it comes around nicely, comes all the way around. Now the detail painting is next, doing all the tools and bits and pieces. Now this has had a MRP again matte varnish over the top. It still leaves a very faint sheen, but you can see it's there. I'm really happy where the camouflage came out in the end. Got to do some weathering next, obviously, after this, and it won't be heavily weathered, but it won't be lightly weathered, if I don't know what I mean by that. So it will be weathered. I'm going to make a vignette for it, a small thing, basically with a bit of rubble around it, because let's face it, this was a street fighting vehicle, so it would have had quite a bit of rubble around it anyway. Now, I didn't glue this part on, the actual mortar housing at the front, because this is two bits. It's glued in place now, but before this bit from here and there, because it fits on nicely and tightly, so you can actually leave it there when you're spraying it, but when you come to the final bit, you've got to glue it in place. Now to get the barrel inside there, and I don't know if you can see too much, but anyway, but there's a nice metal barrel painting inside there. Now what I did is this bit that the front comes off. So it used to come off. And what I did there is I sprayed into the tube when the model into the barrel, so it was dark gunmetal colour in that way. And then with this bit, I sprayed. Sprayed in coming this way into the gun housing. So I sprayed any loose paint would come straight out the end of the hole. It's like as if it was firing a shell. And you can see I've got a lovely spray in there, very smoothly, and that was so easy to do. And it really helps me out on the 1/35 scale one later on, because I most probably use the same principle as well to do the same, to get the gun barrel to actually the gun sleeve to look nice. And the rifling's in there nicely. You can't see it too good, I'm afraid, but it does. You can see it quite plainly. I don't know if you can see any more. It's getting the light into it, isn't it? But anyway, so everything on this model now is ready for detail painting, which I'll most probably do tomorrow, because I've got to paint the actual shovels and the actual crowbar that's along the side, the machine gun at the front. You can see I've also got to do some. Once I've done all the webbing, I'm going to put the perspex in. The roof. The reason I left the roof off, and it will lift up. There you go. You see it lifts up. It's because I want to put the periscope. Make a periscope and put it in the periscope housing, so that it looks like there's one there as well. So that's the idea of it. Now I've also, and I wish I'd brought it in here, I've also got a bit of wire wrapped around into a circle, and it's already sprayed up into a metal colour. I'm going to put a bit of weathering on that, and it's going to lay on the hook on there, a bit similar to what it is in my magazine, but it'll be on this side rather than the side it is. And if I show you, I don't know if you're going to see this. No, you're not. Now if I do that, there it is, similar to that, but it's be on the other side, not draped as untidily, because I'm a tidy German. Anyway, so as you can see, it's coming along nicely now, and I'm really chuffed the way it's come out. I've also recently bought the 1/48 scale Tiger 1 late version, using the same sort of wheel, steel wheel system, and I thought it'd look nice on another little vignette next to it, to give you the idea of the scale of the vehicle and the gun compared to the standard Tiger. I just thought so anyway, but it's well worth a go, and I'll be doing that later. But this would have been a really quick job to build. I did put photo etch grills on the engine deck, and they fell off as well because I used white glue to do those, to actually glue them on. So, and that was a lucky mistake in some ways, because they would have stayed on with the spray paint, but I must admit, because it was wood glue, it actually came away lovely off the model, and I was cleaned them up. You put them in lacquer thinners to get all the paint off completely and clean them right back to normal, and then did the same again and glued them on. But this time I used super glue, and I used I'll show you this. I used this super glue, Zappagat, or Zappa, yeah, that's what they call it. And to apply it, I use one of these mauve little sticky things. Now the good thing is the glue doesn't dry too quickly, so I managed to go all around the edges and run a few beads across the middle, and then place it and get it to match up, drop it into place perfectly. I had a fraction of a second to move it and make sure it was in the right place, and it worked perfectly. So Zappagat for that, that's what I used. And those lovely things. So Switchers found one way of using these, and one is to use these for painting the old line on the ship, which I'm going to be doing the same for the water line on the decks. But I found it for super glue as well. The bad thing is, once you've used it with super glue, it's not much use afterwards. But it allowed me, one stick allowed me to do all these bits here. And I think if I'd gone and put them in a bit of acetone, they might have got it back anyway. So who knows, I might try that later. But there you go. So that was that. And just to give you an idea what the old... There's a Tamiya, I'll put it this way, Tamiya glue bottle there, and it gives you an idea of the size of the vehicle compared to that. Still a lot bigger than 1/72 scale though. So there you go. Well, I think that'll be it, and I'm just going to put it around there so it finishes in that position. There you go. And I think just a bit of shine in there, the old metallizer inside. As I said, I sprayed in from the barrel this way, much easier, and it really leaves a perfect rim of metal, rather than trying to get in there with a paintbrush. So you can use the airbrush on that as well. Right then, so I think that's going to be it for this update. And as I said, the next time you'll see this, hopefully in the middle of the week, it will actually have all the detail painting done, which I'll most probably do tomorrow. And then Monday, I'll get to stuck into the weathering. I'm thinking about using a few oils, on this as well as a submarine, or go on to some of the other Vallejo weathering products I've got in a box in the cupboard. Right then, so thank you very much. I'm just going to turn the light up a little bit more. No, that's all right, didn't need it. Thank you very much for watching this, and as I said, it's been a pleasant build apart from that muck up where I had to soak it, the whole kit in clutch oil to actually get the paint off. And as I said, it even took off the Tamiya extra fine spray, the fine spray. I thought it wouldn't take that off. I only thought it would take the actual Vallejo paint off and then wouldn't take the Tamiya, but it did. It just took it all off back to it. So it's worth remembering, but it is a mucky thing to do. I'm hoping I don't ever have to do that. But with the MRP paints, I must admit the pigments are so fine, like I said, and I really did enjoy using them. I think they work better when it's not so hot as well, but I found that it didn't affect me half as much as it did with the Vallejo paints. I'm not going to get rid of my Vallejos because I still like them. But there you go. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.